What up, YouTube? I spent some time recording a lot of content that I want to present to you guys. I recorded a series of videos about my next 5 producer tips for the producer community. And so without further ado, let's talk about it. All right, YouTube, a couple housekeeping items. First things first, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, especially if you're new to the channel. You can browse around and see the kind of content I have on my channel and things that I've been talking about recently. Next, go ahead and hit that post bell notification so that you guys can be notified of any new videos that I put out on my YouTube page. And lastly, if you like this kind of content and the things that I'm talking about, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. All right? Let's get into it. This video today is the first video of a series that I'm doing called The Next 5. And the very first topic that we're going to talk about today is learning your gear. That's right, y'all. Topic number 1, learn your gear. A lot of people feel like they have something that's either limiting them or that they can no longer use. A lot of y'all really just don't know how to work the stuff y'all got. I'm just being 1,000% honest, bro. Why do I say learn your gear? Because you'll never know if your gear is limited or if it can actually do what you need it to do. What I have always done with any new thing that I've got, be it a software plugin or software DAW itself, my MPC 4000 or anything that I've used to make music, I've taken the time to read the manual, understand what it does, what it can do. I've played around with certain features to see what they can and can't do. And I just spent time with the tool before I dove in trying to be, you know, the next hottest producer, as many of y'all ascribe to be, right? I don't really try to be the next hottest producer. I really try to be myself. That's me. That's another topic though. But learning your gear is critical. It'll even get you to the space of understanding whether or not you need to upgrade or whether or not you just may need to add an additional piece of hardware, piece of software in correlation with it to make it do what you want it to do. People love the stuff that they have. Nobody really wants to get rid of anything. If we all had it our way, we would keep everything that we ever bought. Some of it was a lack of not understanding what it could do in totality, but some of it was just, you know, buying into, you know, capitalism. Like, oh, this is old. You need to get the new one. The new one's much better. It's going to trump this old one. No one's going to be using that in a couple years anyway, right? So all of us have bought into that. The reason I'm saying learn your gear, because I personally know a few producers here where I live that have had the same gear for 10, 15 years, and they are still putting out banging records and making banging stuff with it. Now, I'll be honest, workflow has changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? Workflow has changed a whole entire lot. And that brings me to this topic. Software, hardware, plugins, DAWs, all of these tools do so many things. That doesn't mean that my 4000 is better than my Maschine Mark III. Doesn't mean that hardware is better than software. Doesn't mean that software is better than hardware. None of those arguments make sense anymore. Unless you got a trained scientific ear, you ain't gonna hear the difference no way. So just know everything that I just said boils down to one thing. You're not limited, period. Next point that I want to talk about is expand your thinking. This is a problem that I've seen with a lot of producers. Like, you have to learn how to think outside the box. Learn how to use your gear in a way that you've never used it before. There was a YouTuber that I watched that uses an MPC 4000, doesn't make hip hop. It completely makes house and trance style type music. And the MPC 4000, just like the 2000 XL, has a sequence edit button, right? You can go in and pre-record your MIDI sequence steps prior to hitting record play like you normally would on the MPC, and kind of play it in manually that way without even listening to it, right? So I'm saying all that to say is think about how you make music, how you would like to make music in the future. Let me just get creative with this tool that I've invested this money in to see if I can get out of it what I've spent on it. Because that's ultimately really the problem that a lot of producers have. We spend so much money on this stuff and we rarely know how to use it or even know what its true capabilities really are. We typically go off word of mouth. If somebody else says it's good, then it's great. And so we just roll with it from there, right? So expand your thinking a little bit. Think outside the box and start using your gear in a way that you never thought that you'd be able to use it before, right? So last point that I want to make, needs versus wants. A lot of us don't need anything new. We want the latest and greatest, right? If everybody else around you got the latest and greatest device, in the MPC world, right? It's either a Live 2 or MPC X or MPC 1, right? If you sitting at home with this old MPC 2000 and everybody else around you is telling you need to upgrade because it's better, guess what you're going to want to do? You're going to start finding ways to look at your old device and say, yeah, this thing ain't cutting it no more, so I'm finna go get a new one, right? You may like the workflow of the old one. I know personally I do. That's not a need. That's more of a want. Another common area that I see this evolve in is with microphones. Everybody wants that whatever sound. Tag your favorite artist there, whatever this person's sound is, right? What many of y'all don't understand, if you've never been in a true recording environment with a real artist on a label that's actually putting out a record, is a lot of these vocal chains and all of this stuff that I see on these producer boards, a lot of these engineers have mastered their craft years ago, right? Some of them use plugins strictly in the box. Some of them use plugins in conjunction with analog consoles still. So the point is to not try to go have whoever's sound that you want. You have to understand what you have and how to get the best sound that you have with the things that you've already purchased. So those things aren't needs. So don't feel like you need a new microphone to make yourself sound like tag your favorite artist in that insert, right? I actually just saw a post the other day. Somebody asked, should they consider getting a true U87 or is the Neumann TLM 103 sufficient? And so my first thought was like, what current microphone are you using and what's wrong with the way that one sounds that is driving you toward purchasing these very expensive microphones, right? This video is about learning your gear. You're not limited. Balancing needs versus wants. Because if I'm being honest, y'all, we already have more than enough stuff. That's it, guys. I just wanted to chime in and put the new video out there. Be on the lookout for 4 more videos in this new series called My Next 5 Producer Tips. Today, this one was about learning your gear. So I hope that y'all were able to take some things away from it in terms of not being limited. Remember, learn your gear, spread the knowledge. Holla.